Welcome, guys, back with another episode, and we're going to do a short one this time on an idea that I was talked to me by one of our viewers, and I think I also had something in my classes talking about this too. We're going to talk about hypnosis and subliminal messages. And so before we do that, please subscribe, like, comment, and I take a lot of your comments and talk about these type of things. But hypnosis and subliminal messages are used a lot to help people change their attitudes. I'm going to move my camera a little bit here, and change their ideas about things that are happening, to try to do it in a positive way. And so hypnosis has been around since Freud and a lot of people way back, 100, 120 years ago. And, I'm not going to say whether or not that's true or not. I don't know enough about hypnosis. I can tell you about subliminal messages because we basically kind of focused on the idea that in research and communications, they talked about the fact that a person, they did studies back in the 1930s actually, where they flashed, in a movie theater, they flashed pictures of popcorn in between the movies as they were going along, and they wanted to see if people were going to actually go buy popcorn. And they found out a lot of people did. The increased sales of popcorn were, astonishing, because people were able to look at some kind of suggestion and be able to work. So that's part of what hypnosis does, gives you suggestions. Now, does that work? Well, I think once again, you have to be receptive to that. Now, why do we talk about this? Well, when we look at the negative side of things, and we look at all these things that are happening when it comes to images and all these things you see on TikTok, which are just amazing to me, how degrading people are when you're watching some of these TikToks, and some of these people on there, they just kind of act like, and they wonder why they can't, find dates or find people to go out with and people to settle down with. And, it's just embarrassing to look at some of these people and how these people behave. But the common type of philosophy now is that, well, you can do anything you want to do and there's no ramifications, and you're on, you're getting a platform and you're going to go ahead and do that. Well, the idea is that, if you see a lot of these things, you're going to start getting those type of images in your mind. It's very difficult to get around that. And that's why people end up releasing and doing a lot of losing their energy and things like that, because they're caught in one of those situations where they're almost being hypnotized by themselves when it comes to these images. And the subliminal messages are saying to them, okay, it's okay to view this. And so you just continue doing it, and every time it pops up, all of a sudden now you have a different image and things like that, and it becomes a problem, because eventually that leads you to a stronger behavior and a wanting to go ahead and release. And so this kind of stuff really kind of hits at the core of what people try to do to have you buy products and merchandise. And so hypnosis, in my case, can be used, and so does subliminal messages, in a positive way. And that's certainly to do things that are going to be beneficial to you. And, in the sense of making money, there's nothing wrong with using visualization and using messages to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and, make money. I can see myself making money. I can see myself doing this. And putting those type of messages within, your behaviors every day, I think is something that is worthwhile, because you're actually going ahead and doing something positive. But on the other hand, if you're doing it for disruptive type means and behavior, well, it's not so positive then. And I think that's when you create a problem with the situation that you have, and when it becomes a real bad type of situation. So I think hypnosis and everything, can be good or bad depending on how you use it. And I think certainly it can be effective for people, and I think people can be, it can be used for people. But the idea is that you have to kind of say to yourself, okay, what is the real end goal here? What do you really want to accomplish by using some of this? And I think certainly when it comes to becoming your better self, you want to ingrain in your mind an idea that you don't need to look at these pictures. You don't need to chase women around, look at them as objects. You don't need to chase men around and look at them as objects or conquests, which I know some people do. And you just don't need to do any of that, because it doesn't serve any kind of purpose. And what's the purpose? Well, a lot of the purpose should be, in my mind, right, is to making yourself the best person you can be, and losing energy and wasting a lot of time not doing those things doesn't accomplish that type of purpose. And I think that's the whole key to it. So I would say that in this situation, hypnosis is something that, I have seen help people medically. People kind of get out of certain mind frames, and I think a lot of people have trauma when they're younger, and I think it's important to overcome that. I work with a lot of kids at foster type places, and I see a lot of that type of thing with younger people, that they could use hypnosis and using different subliminal messages, and I think it does help you. It can help you achieve things. I think as a parent, you kind of use that type of subliminal messages to kind of help with your kids and try to motivate them. If you do it the right way, you can also do it in a negative way. If you do it in the right way, it can help them, trying to succeed and encourage them to succeed when they're younger. Those type of things. And I think we do it with students. I mean, I tell students that they can achieve anything they can. And I think so in a way, I'm also using a somewhat of a subliminal messages. I mean, sometimes, people don't see those, but it goes back down the purpose. I think, and that's the whole key, my friends, is that you can use some of these tools, but I guess the key is, what are you using them for? Are you using them to really succeed and make life better for you and make life better for others? Or you're going to go ahead and use them for destructive types of things and just take advantage of people or make money off of people and things like that. And I think if you do that, you're bound to fail. Because, I think in the long run, the world around us has a boomerang effect. And the boomerang effect kind of says, that if you're doing things to hurt other people and take advantage of people, then eventually that's going to come back and bite you in the rear end. And I think that happens, and I've seen that happen a million times with people over the years. And so that's why I say that I don't have any problem necessarily with using hypnosis and subliminal messages to kind of help you with situations. In some ways, meditation, you try to kind of fill your mind and ideas with certain purposes and ideas. But the thing is, you really want to kind of focus on what is the major goal of hypnosis. It's going to change your mind pattern. It's going to change the way you think. And you're going to be able to kind of use repetition to actually kind of give messages yourself. And like, for example, saying to yourself, I like myself. Within those type of things you're doing, you're convincing yourself to change your thought pattern. And we do that all the time. But, when people do it in a manipulative way, whether it's, marketing or advertising, things like that, then you have to kind of wonder, what are they trying to achieve here? And I think that's when you have to make a control. So like anything else, you got to stay away from a lot of the marketing things, and you got to say no to this stuff, because you're basically being manipulated to do something you don't want to do. And that's when you got to put your foot down. All right, this is a short one, guys, but I wanted to make sure that I got this topic because it was something that we had a couple viewers ask me about. All right, so until next time, guys, battle on.